In Poland, it's common to bring flowers when visiting someone's home. True or false?
True.
Polish business meetings often start with small talk over coffee, and it's rude to jump straight into business. True or false?
True.
Poland has one of the fastest growing tech sectors in Europe, with Warsaw often called the Silicon Valley of Central Europe. True or false?
And this one also going to be true.
Hi, and welcome to ASHA Global Voices podcast. My name is Tjasa Strle, and I'm a cross-cultural leadership coach and the creator of ASHA Global Voices. Together with my guests, we are sharing stories from around the world about different cultures, leadership, and human experiences that connect us. If you like what you hear, please hit the subscribe button. Your support means the world to me. And now, let's dive into today's episode.
Hi, and welcome to ASHA Global Voices podcast. Today, my guest is Katia Worobiewa from Poland. Katia is an account director at Hilton, managing Nordic markets and working with global clients. With over a decade in hospitality sales, she's known for building strong partnerships and driving results internationally. Beyond business, Katia is also a passionate athlete, an OCR European champion, and a Hyrox World Championship competitor, proving she thrives both in the boardroom and on the race course. Hi, Katia. I'm so happy to welcome you. The listeners don't know, but we had quite some technical issues. And as we said, the third one is a charm. So welcome once again.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your podcast.
And maybe just to say before we dive into true or false statement that you're half Polish and half Belarus, and you lived first 17 years in Belarus and then moved to Poland, and basically all your adult life, we could say you've lived in Poland now, which is for quite some years.
Yeah, that's true. So I do hold a dual citizenship. I'm both Polish and Belarusian. And I spent more or less similar amount of time in Belarus growing up. And then the adult part of my life was spent here in Poland. And we sometimes spent in UK as well doing my master degree.
And it will be great to hear your perspective on Polish culture. So let's start with true or false statements. All three of them were true. And the first one was that in Poland, it's common to bring flowers when visiting someone's home. Tell us more about it.
It's just common to bring something, so not to come up empty-handed. And if the household does have a lady, so there is a female, that's normally flowers. Of course, it would be rather weird to bring flowers to a man here. For male friends, it will rather be wine or chocolate. So, but generally, yeah, it's a good. It's showing that you're very well behaved, and it's a good manners when you're showing up with flowers. So that's not something not common here, and I would strongly suggest doing that.
Okay, great tip. And the second one was that Polish business meetings often start with small talk over coffee, and that it's rude to jump straight into business.
Yeah, this is also true. It's all about the relationship, all about building the relationship. And I think I cannot say Polish people are less trusting, but they're more cautious. So if you will jump straight into the business, they will think that it's only so you're pushing your side, you want something from them. So I would definitely recommend getting to know the person first, just establishing this personal connection. Even if it's just about chit-chatting about the weather or travel plans, vacations, and just family in general, and then going into business. So that will also show you that you do know the person, you are interested in the person that you're talking to.
Okay, noted. So building the relationship first is really important before diving into business.
Yes.
And the third one, which was also true, was that Poland has one of the fastest growing tech sectors in Europe, with Warsaw often called the Silicon Valley of Central Europe.
I think that's true. Even from my own experience, I know quite a number of people that came here to do their tech startups. and they said that it's a great country to do so. And Warsaw, for example, has the best, let's say, conditions and environment to get their things going. They have a lot of support from the government. There is special hubs for that. And also we have quite a number of global companies that are transferring their head offices here, also due to the workforce being much cheaper here. So it's definitely popping up on the European map as the tech capital.
Okay. And as we said before, you moved to Poland when you were 17. And so my next question is, what was your first kind of cultural impression when you moved to Warsaw?
Yeah, I moved here to do my bachelor degree. And for me, I think the first impression was that the people are quite similar to the one in Belarus. So they are very open. They're easy to talk to. They're easy to establish that first conversation. But at the same time, they're also a bit different. I think they're more happier with their life, even though Polish people love to complain. I think they even love themselves that it's a national sport of complaining here in Poland. They can complain about everything, but they still live here and they still enjoy what they have here. So I think they are happier because the level of life that they have here is better. That's what we, for example, have in Belarus. So that was for me like the biggest difference than going back to Belarus and seeing those people that are going to work, that they are not smiling, they're not asking. So even the service level, when you come to the Polish shop and they are always greeting you, saying dzień dobry when you enter. So that's not something common that you're going to see in Belarus. So that was for me striking when I'm entering a shop and someone is just greeting me. I'm like, okay, do they want something from me? So I was suspicious about that, but now I'm fully used to that and it's just good manners to do so.
Okay, great to hear. What caught your eye at the beginning? And what if I ask you, and I know it's a challenging one, but just tell me the first 3 words that come to mind. If I ask you, what would be the 3 words you would use to describe Polish people?
I would definitely say that they are open, they are easy to talk to, and they're reliable. So for sure, if they would say that they were going to do that, and you can feel it, that you can trust them. And I think the third one that I would say, they are creative. I think it's all because of the past that they had. It wasn't an easy past, especially all those Soviet age and the Soviet period. That made them be creative, be flexible in how they approach life. So I think that also helps them a lot when now this country is developing and is popping up on the European map.
Okay, interesting. So yeah, as you said that they are warm, you also before you mentioned that you see them as warm people, also smiling and talking to each other, but also relating to the one of the true or false statements, you also said that building a relationship and kind of establishing trust is also important at the beginning, right?
Yeah, especially if you do business here and you want to do good, you need those relationships, you need those connections. It's still very related on the relationship that you have and on the opinion that people have about you. They can recommend you to someone, and that's how you build this. It's very important to build the right network here and to mingle with the people, to know the right people. So for sure, being able to be open and to get those relationships going, that's crucial for being successful here as a business person.
Okay, and what is the usual kind of greeting in business settings?
Normally that's a handshake when you're in a more, you know the person more, and that was also a bit cultural different from my side. On the personal level, when it's your friends, you're greeting them with a kiss on the cheek. Not officially, traditionally in Poland, that's 3 kisses, so that's quite a long of doing that. Normally, now between young people, it's just down to 1. But also when you're greeting someone on a business side, but you do know the person, you have the strong personal connection with the person, it's also okay to do a kiss on the cheek. And then if you're meeting the person from the first time, it's normally a handshake.
Okay, very
and of course,
interesting.
the smile goes
A long way.
Yes. As a very good add-on to that.
Good add-on. Okay, also noted. And so what would you say about Polish communication if you think about it? Do you see it as direct or more indirect?
I would say that it's somewhere in the middle, because you cannot sugarcoat too much. You cannot go all the way around, because then people will think that you're trying to get something out of them. So you need to be a bit straight to the point, but at the same time remembering that you need to have this personal touch, let's say. So I think it should be this equally weighted between being straightforward and being not too rude. But I think here Polish people definitely love having facts. So if it's even you're criticizing, or you want to bring some negative feedback, you need to be really precise on what. So to have facts that will support your statement. That's how people will feel. I don't think they will feel better, but definitely they will feel more understanding of what you are trying to say. And yeah, honesty, I think that goes a long way here as well. And if they feel that you are trying to push your point without having those arguments to support it, then you will lose that trust that you worked so hard on.
Okay, very interesting. So it's important to have facts also when presenting your arguments, let's say, and to still have this human touch.
Yes.
Not to be too direct.
For sure.
And how would you describe the typical leadership style in Poland? Would you say it's more hierarchical or collaborative?
I would definitely say that's hierarchical, and that's what I was a bit. I'm a very open, easygoing person. That was a bit struck me when I started working here, is that there is this not fear, but a very huge respect and a different approach to a person above you. So your manager, the director, leadership, they do have this approach where it's in a more international environment. Normally companies are trying to create that everyone is equal. You can openly talk to your director, you can open to your manager, like your team colleague. Here, first, when I started working, there was this, oh no, that's the director. Like, we don't say something to the director. You don't express your negative opinion to the director. So there is this very hierarchical approach generally at work. I think this is changing, because that was when I've started 14 years ago, when I joined my first company. But there is still a long way. There is still this, I think, built in the Polish system, that it is changing with the influence from Europe, from the Western side. But mostly it's still a big respect to the person that is on a higher position. And it's like a small fear, I would say. And people are sometimes, especially that are handling the stress less professionally, they are kind of frozen when, for example, they ask for the opinion and they try to be only positive.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. And what would you say is one stereotype about Polish, either, let's say, Polish people in general, or if you come up with something in professional settings, whatever comes to mind?
I think one of the stereotypes could be that they are very straight or rigid, that they go with the rules. I don't think that is completely true. I think this is changing. So as I said,
did I understand?
directness.
So the Polish people are really direct.
No, that's the stereotype, that they are very straightforward. I would say that is not true, because this is changing. You can see that people are trying to have different approach, be more flexible, and also be more, I don't want to name it more European, but more Western, take more Western styles of leadership or even communication into their daily life. And especially with that many international companies being present here in Warsaw or in Krakow, in bigger cities, you can definitely feel that. So I do not think that is true, as for looking at the stereotypes that I'm aware of.
Okay, great for debunking this one. And what's one thing foreigners should avoid doing when working with Polish colleagues?
I would avoid invading their private time. So that's what I've definitely learned here. So if it's a weekend, it's a family time. You do not call people during the weekend. It's the time for them and their family. They are respecting that a lot. And the same with calling after working hours. So establishing those boundaries, that's the boundaries that I wouldn't suggest crossing. So being respectful of that, I think that will show that you have this great culture and understanding of how Polish people work.
Okay, so respecting the working hours and no
Yes.
work-related things or contacts beside these working hours and on the weekends.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And what would you say, what's something that often surprises foreigners about doing business in Poland?
I think maybe the fact that you do need this connection, you need this personal touch. See, you have my cat here as well. So
Your
that's my
cat?
personal touch on today's podcast.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
There one ear here. So I think that's one thing that is also striking. So there should be a very nice balance between this personal relationship and the business relationship. And I'll definitely suggest the people that want to do good here is to remember about this personal relationship that they need to take care of when working with the Polish people. And yeah, I think that's the way
Okay.
to go.
Okay. Personal relationships are really important.
Yeah.
And you've also worked under leaders from different cultures, and now also my dog came. So you worked under leaders from different cultures, Polish, British, and also French. And tell me, what difference have stood out to you between these two?
I would definitely say that the British ones are sugarcoating a lot. So that is a lot what I'm missing being Slavic, being Belarusian and Polish, is this directness. But they're right, as I said, so everything should be balanced. And for me, there the balance is lost with being very indirect, going very around the corner instead of just going straight to the facts, going straight to feedback, the goals that needs to be achieved. So there is a lot of this, I would name it, fuss around, rather than the actual things that has to be discussed. With the Polish, I think it's somewhere, as I said, so it's somewhere in the middle. There is still has to be this personal touch. There still has to be some nice things around it, but we are more into, okay, this has to be done, off the table. Everyone respects the time, so everyone is trying to get straight to the point. Whereas the French people, I think they lack, and please don't hate me, French people, especially my best friend is French, so they lack their decision making factors. So they are no one wants to take the responsibility. At least that's what I've experienced, is that if you want to get some result from them, everyone is pushing things to another person. No one wants to say, okay, we'll do it this way and just, stand by it. They are very, okay, we will think about it, but please ask someone else. And then another person transfers you to another person, and you're like, okay, come on, let someone can, find the pants and just say, let's do it. So that is, I think, the biggest difference between all three of them. In Poland, I think it's of course this hierarchical system where the leader or the manager would rather follow their advice. They will take care, they will take into account your feedback, but them are making the final choice. And I think that would be more decisive in comparison to other two nations. But this again, and I need to underline, this is my personal experience or what I've met, the people I worked with. So I don't want really to generalize across all of the 3 nations.
Absolutely. And I hope also the listeners are aware, always it's also our personal perspective. But on the other hand, it's also a little bit of generalization, because otherwise it's kind of difficult to talk about different leadership styles as well. Of course, there are exceptions as always, but there are differences between us and between our cultures. And this is probably also why you notice these differences and you can distinguish them.
Yeah.
So
I can give you one example, which was quite funny for me when I started working for a French chain, but it's a French chain of hotels, but it's a hotel here in Poland, in Warsaw. And I'm quite easygoing, open person. So when the GM of the hotel came to the office, where there were like 5 sellers in one room, just because during my interview we talked and I've Googled on him that he likes scuba diving. I also love scuba diving. And he came on after I've started the job, a couple of months after. The GM, so the general manager of the hotel, he came back from his annual leave and he wanted to share with me the photos, because he did amazing professional photos of underwater, like during his dives. So he came with his personal laptop, sat on my desk and just kept showing me the pictures, like the photos of the reef, of the fish, which were amazing. And all of my colleagues in the room, they just froze. And I saw the fear in their eyes, because they had no idea what was happening, why the general manager of the hotel is in our office, why he's talking to me that long, and what we were discussing with this like passion in between ourselves. So when he left, they were super surprised that we were discussing like the fish photos and he was sharing some personal facts about him. Whereas for them, it's like, I cannot say like God, but it's like a very respected person in the hierarchy of the workplace. So it was hard for them to understand how it's like, it's still a person. He still has his interests and he loves sharing that with other people that has similar interests.
Really interesting story. So the general manager, he was originally French.
He was French, yeah.
And your colleagues were Polish, right?
Yes.
And you found yourself somewhere in between, being
and
a global
I'm always
citizen.
kind of feeling myself in between, having this dual citizenship. But for me, that was interesting to observe how some and I don't know if it's more, it could be also my personal character and the openness that I have and the directness that I have into creating the connection. But for me, if I like something, it's easy for me to share the interest with another person who has similar interest. And it doesn't matter if it's like a general manager of the hotel.
I can relate to that, what you just said. And I can also say that you also gave the impression to me the first time we met that you're easy to talk to, that you're open-minded, that you're open in general. So the conversation, it felt that it flowed naturally.
It's those years of working in sales, we need to find this way quite quickly to the people's heart.
Yeah, which is an absolutely great asset, definitely, in every environment.
For sure.
And tell me, Katia, you manage accounts in the Nordic region and enjoy working with those clients, as you said to me before this podcast. So how would you compare now Polish and Nordic business approaches?
I would say they are not completely, but mostly different. So the Polish way of doing business is more pushing the weight on your side. So you're pushing for what you want mostly. So you're trying to get the best out of the cooperation that you have without thinking too much of what you can actually give back to your partner, to your business partner. With the Nordics, it's very easygoing in terms of they understand if they want something from us, they also need to give something back. So it's an actual real cooperation where we give you this, we expect that from you. If you want something from us, that's what we want in return. So it's quite clear in terms of the cooperation, and it makes the way of doing business much easier. So everything is set up, and they do respect that. Whereas, and I did work with the Polish event agencies, they were there when they wanted something from me. They were the first to call, they were the first to ask. But then when it was my turn to ask about the contract to be signed or about the decision when it's going to be made, they either didn't pick up the phone, or they were not replying to the emails, or I had to chase them several times and to get some feedback. Whereas the Nordics are different here, because they will tell you honestly if it's they do have any feedback, or they are waiting on someone's decision. So you would know where you are, which makes your life easier and I think less stressful for sure. That's
Okay.
why I love working with that type of people.
So what I've heard is that that you noticed that Nordics are more transparent.
Yes.
You can
And
compare
they're
them,
more fair.
and that they are searching for win-win situations.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're more fair in what they're asking for and what do they expect in return.
And you also said that they are honest, right? And transparent. So what if I ask you now, is being the Nordic clients honest and and have clarity ever been a challenge for Polish professionals who might have a different communication style?
I think it's more also going to respecting the boundaries. So I think it might be, the challenge might be in the Polish professional pushing too much for what they want without giving something back. And again, underlying this based on my own experience from the event industry. It's also another type of industry that we cannot compare that one with, for example, tech. So, but generally how the communication worked or could not work between Polish and the Nordics, Polish people pushing too much for what they want without thinking what could they give in return. So that's here would be, gaining and maybe not being that long-term oriented in terms of, getting as much as possible now without thinking of the consequences of that can influence the long-term relationship. Where the Nordics, I think they do know that their industry is well established, and that's why they do value the long-term relationship, because they don't want to jump from flower to flower. They want, if they have this relationship that they've already invested in working with this company, they want this relationship to flourish. That's why they understand that it should be an equal side of give and take.
Okay. Super interesting, Katia. Thanks for sharing this comparison. And now I want us to move into your athletic side of you. So, as we said at the beginning, you are an accomplished athlete. You are a European champion in obstacle racing, and now you are active in Hyrox. Of course, first you will have to kind of elaborate what Hyrox is so that we understand. So please do.
Okay, so Hyrox is I think the fastest growing sport currently. It was established in Germany, so two Germans established it in 2017, and already by now, so 8 years after, it's spread around the world. So they have competitions going on, I think, in most major cities. And why it became popular? Because that's a hybrid sport where you have to run for 1 kilometer, do an exercise, then run again for 1 kilometer, do another exercise, and that kind of continues and for 8 times. So you all together need to ride 8 kilometers and do 8 exercises. The thing is, and how it differs from CrossFit, for example, the exercises that you need to do are quite simple, so everyone can do them. And you can compare your time, because the course, no matter where it is, it could slightly differ, but most of the time it's the same like with running a marathon. So you're always comparing your personal best times from one city to another, even though the distance is the same, but the course could be slightly different, but you can compare your time. So you can always see how you progress. And I think that's how people getting hooked on that, but it's also the community that is around it. So it's about the people that wants to stay healthy, and they do promote themselves as a sport for everyone, just because those exercises like the squats with the ball, with throwing a ball, or rowing 1 kilometer on a rower, running. So it's something that mostly everyone can do, no matter how old you are or how, of course, fit you are. And they have different, let's say, categories, how you can start with just being like in a team relay and then end up just competing individually. So I think that's what is also got me hooked on that. And yeah, that's, you need to train boys, you need to train running, and you need to train your strengths. And coming from obstacle course racing, where I also have to work on both of those sides, it just got very interested. And a lot of also my friends that were previously or are currently still doing obstacle course racing, they've tried Hyrox and now they're thinking of doing it more. And plus decided, just because the competition are in different places in the world, it's also sports tourism. So you go around the world, you travel, and you compete in Hyrox. So that's also great.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds really interesting. Even you motivated me now that I'm going to search if I have some trainings here in my city.
Please do. I think it's very great. Also, communities is around this sport. You can cheer. You can go and cheer your friends. You can see how it works. You'll definitely see the biggest amount of shortless guys running around, especially from the from the view perspective. It's nice to see athletic and sporty people. But I think it's more also about the feeling of being a part of something bigger. And yeah, for example, the World Championship were in Chicago, so we traveled with my friends all the way to Chicago to do that, which was
Sounds
great.
amazing. And tell me, Katia, what would you say? What lessons from competitive sports, which have been also a part of your life now for many years, have influenced your work ethic and approach in business, if any?
I think the biggest one is that I'm still working on that part, but definitely patience. That nothing comes immediately, even though my personal character wants everything and it wants it now. So definitely sport taught me that it takes time. You need to put a lot of effort in order to get some result. And if you're not putting that effort, you're not going to get the results. And it all depends on you. So sport, I think, is the best also business teacher or coach that anyone could get. Because even especially with running, it's not going to you're not going to be fast just because you bought the shoes. No, if you didn't put the effort, you didn't put the kilometers, you didn't put the amount of sweat, tears into your trainings, you're not going to get the results. You're not going to get great fast times that you want. And yeah, resilience as well. That shit do happen, sorry to say. And you need to get it back on track. You need to stand up and fight further, because you can get injured, but it just happens with everyone. And it's just how you overcome it will show you what person you are. So that's also, I think, the same with business. You never are fully right. You never choose the best and successful, answers. Also, successful paths. Sometimes you will make mistakes. It depends if you learn from them or not. So here it's quite similar.
Yeah, a great teacher sport as well. And what would you say? What's one culture value from Poland, if there's any, or from Belarus, that you carry into your international interactions, or that you feel that it's still present in you?
I think the flexibility, the creativity part that the Polish people have, this also, it's a bit of a resilience. And I think it's similar to Polish and Belarusians here, just because of our past, which is quite similar. All the wars, all the repressions, everything that happened, all our Soviet childhood taught us to be flexible and to be quick in our reaction. And I would definitely bring that into the international environment, because that will allow you to be more successful, to react to what is happening around you, but also to adapt to new ways of doing stuff. So that definitely helps.
For sure, such useful trait. And now a little bit imaginary question, but still I think it's an interesting one. If you could take one cultural trait from the Nordics and one from Poland to create, let's say, the perfect work culture, what would they be?
I would for sure will take this fair approach from the Nordics, so this equal give and take, and combine it with the Polish openness and the ease of creating this personal relationship, because that's what I've noticed for the Nordics. It's really hard to get to them, like, to get this personal relationship established. They are amazing in terms of their business. Yes, they are quite clear here, business wise, all good. But my Slavic character is needing more of this personal, this warmth into establishing the relationship. And that's quite hard with some of the clients. I'm working with them, for example, the past 3 years, and I'm still not yet there where I wanted to be. So if I would create this perfect environment, I would take the fair approach and will add the Polish warmth and openness to people in creating the relationship. I think that will create a perfect environment for the business to flourish, but also for you as a person to develop and to learn to develop your business and your business contacts. But that's in a very imaginary and perfect world.
Who knows? Maybe one day.
Yeah.
And now I have another question, and then the last question that I ask every guest. If you could imagine a better world to live in, what would that look like for people globally?
For sure, place without wars. I think that is the most common reply now. So without violence, and that in a more wider perspective, both violence toward other people, but towards animals everywhere. So that will definitely create a better space for everyone to live in. And if I could only not do one, but I do two, is the increased consciousness about the environment in general. So about the global warming that we're having, and that every action that you do, every step that you do will have an influence, and it will have a flashback, not maybe for you, but for next generations, just to be more respectful of the planet in general, because we might not experience that, but our kids might do. So to be just mindful and less violent. So the world without wars, that would be amazing, and more cautious about the nature, because we're here because of that, and I think we need to be respectful and thankful for that.
Katia, I couldn't agree more with you, and thank you for putting this out into the universe as well. And I want to thank you for everything that you shared about Polish culture, about business etiquettes, about what you do as well. And it was a pleasure hearing all your perspectives and insights. So thank you so much.
Thank you for asking, and for creating the podcast. So I'm very happy, and I'm very thankful for your work as well.
Thanks.